God bless America. Hello, everybody. I am the Talk Radio Protege. This is the Protege program, and this is the last video that you have to watch before you can make it to the weekend. We're almost there. It's been a very busy news day. This is the third video of mine going up today. I appreciate you tuning in and catching every minute. If you want to continue to catch more of these stories in my commentary, make sure that you hit the like button and subscribe and hit the bell so that you receive notifications and never miss a single video. On the agenda for the final video of this week is two items that I want to talk about, and I think I can lump them both together under the header of the media screwing up. The first of these is Obama talking about Trump and the GOP agenda, the Trump administration, and lumping it all in together with Nazi Germany. Now, normally, a headline like this, and you would expect that Obama said Trump's name, said Republicans, name-dropped those kinds of people. But you get into the specific quotes from this column, which is in, not 100% sure how to pronounce this, so I'm going to go with Crane's Chicago Business website. And you could see how there could be some deniability that that Obama was actually talking about Trump and the United States. But when you know the left and you know how they operate, you know the way they think, it becomes exceedingly clear exactly what Obama was talking about. The elephant in the room, proverbially, stands out exceedingly in this column. So let's get into some of these quotes. I'm going to skip over as much of the commentary as I can and go just to the quotes from President Obama. Now, this one, this was interesting. This seemed kind of like a strange thing to say. Apparently, there was a question about things that Obama has learned as a world citizen of sorts. Remember, Obama famously said that he was a citizen of the world, not of the United States. And that attitude is one of the big things that I believe spurred President Trump's election. Obama said, "Things don't happen internationally if we don't put our shoulder to the wheel. No other country has the experience and bandwidth and ideals. If the U.S. doesn't do it, it's not going to happen." Apparently, Obama did not know this before he ran for election as president. I mean, that appears to me to be the way that this question is being asked. Now that Obama is not president, and now that he's a citizen of the world, or maybe that question was meant to be, since you decided to be a citizen of the world, which was before he was elected, what have you learned? So maybe there could be that kind of angle on it. In the aftermath of his presidency, it seems like this is a question that's being asked, like, now that you're not president and you are a citizen of the world, what have you learned? But maybe that's not necessarily what he's talking about. But apparently, in studying the world and world politics, he learned that the United States is the one with the leverage in the world and the ability to affect things to get done. So when he was president and wasn't getting anything done and was doing the, quote, leading from behind, if he believed this line, that things don't happen internationally if we don't put our shoulder to the wheel, then why would he then become president and do the leading from behind crap that was his philosophy of the American presence on the world stage? It seems counterintuitive to say that Obama believed this line and was president at the same time. He wouldn't have done some of the things that he did if he believed this. It seems to me to be the case. And funnily enough, Chicago business decides to interpret this as criticism of Trump, whose foreign policy focuses on America first. Now, when Trump says America first, I don't think anybody believed that he was saying that in an isolationist sense. There are certainly people in the public eye that are isolationists. I believe Ron Paul was one such isolationist. Rand Paul is certainly more isolationist than many other Republicans. But President Trump, especially in hindsight, now looking back on the way that his presidency has gone so far, he is not an isolationist. He does want to be active on the world stage. And in that sense, America first doesn't mean withdraw into our cloister and not do anything with the outside world. It means when we engage with the outside world, we pursue the agenda of America first. It doesn't mean that we can't put our proverbial shoulder to the wheel and make things happen internationally. It just means that when we do, we're looking out for the United States of America, not for anyone else. Okay, here's the next part. Move to talking about nativist mistrust and unease. He argued that such that the speed of technological change and even impact of globalization have come too quickly to be absorbed in many cultures, bringing strange new things and people to areas in which people didn't use... The English is strange to me on this one. In which people didn't used to challenge your assumptions. As a result, nothing feels solid. Sadly, there's something in us that looks for simple answers when we're agitated. Now, it's a hearkening back to the bitter clingers line. People that get bitter and cling to God and their guns. These are simple people who can't absorb globalization. They're looking for simple answers because nothing feels solid. Again, lambasting vast swaths of the American population. This I thought was just insane. The U.S. has survived tough times before and will again, mentioning the days of communist fighter Joseph McCarthy, as if communists didn't need to be fought, and former President Richard Nixon. But one reason... I must have had a stroke of dyslexia, because the first time I read this paragraph, I thought that said President Ronald Reagan. Pardon me. But one reason the country survived is because it had free press to ask questions. Though he has problems with media just like Trump has had. Problems as in Obama spied on the media. What I understood was the principle that the free press was vital, as long as they were doing exactly what you wanted them to do, right? I mean, Obama knows that he had the press spied on, and then has the gall to say that he understands that the free press is vital. And then he gets into the Nazi stuff. The danger is growing complacent. We have to tend this garden of democracy. We're not a democracy. We're a representative republic with democratic elements. Or else things could fall apart quickly. That's what happened in Germany in the 1930s, which despite the democracy of the Weimar Republic and centuries of high-level cultural and scientific achievements, Adolf Hitler rose to dominate. Obama noted, 60 million people died, so you've got to pay attention and vote. And the unspoken end of that sentence is you've got to pay attention to who the Hitlers are and who the Nazis are, because the people in the media are telling you, and so you need to vote, and you don't need to vote for the Hitlers and the Nazis, which means you need to vote for Democrats. And then Obama said his greatest regret and disappointment was the failure to enact tighter controls on gun possession. Though the issue resonates in far different ways with different parts of the population, something is broke, Obama said, his own voice breaking as he talked about 6-year-old girls shot to death in Sandy Hook, girls not too different in age from his own daughters. Now, if Sandy Hook was not a gun-free zone, and there were staff at Sandy Hook that went through the proper channels to become proficient in the usage of firearms, what might have been different from that situation? Now, in Israel, I remember seeing this photo. I want to say it was in 2012, but I don't remember for sure. A class was on a field trip to somewhere. The location doesn't matter. It was in Israel. It was an Israeli school class trip. And the teacher, this would have given liberal Democrats a stroke if they had seen it. The teacher had an M16 rifle slung over her shoulder. Can you imagine M16 rifles in American classrooms today? I think, maybe it wasn't an M16, maybe it was an AR platform. I think that the rank and file, especially of the gun control lobby, would have a stroke and a heart attack and a conniption fit at the same time. Call me a what's the word that I'm like? Call me a radical gun-toting conservative. But it's my personal opinion that in this day and age, if we're going to enforce the student body and the random visitor not having firearms on school campuses, then all of the staff, such that there is a gun in every classroom, ought to be trained and proficient in the use of firearms for self-defense purposes. If there was a gun in every classroom in the hands of a teacher or a staff member, maybe even the janitors. Why not the janitors? They're the ones that roam the halls and canvass the most area for the most part of the day. Such that there is a gun in every classroom, there would be far fewer shootings in schools. There might even be zero. If there was a rule such that there was a gun in every classroom, I don't think anybody would go to any school to shoot up the place ever again. But instead of doing that, instead of enabling Americans to defend themselves, we must instead take the firearms away from other Americans who wish to exercise their right to defend themselves. And I say it this way because there are already laws to keep guns out of the hands of criminals, and they find ways of obtaining guns anyway. And then they use those guns to commit crime, and we take the guns away from them because they're not supposed to have the guns. And if they ever get the chance again, they go out and they get another gun. I feel like we've beaten the gun control argument to death already. Go Google, Google the locations of the last 10 mass shootings and find out if they were gun-free zones. And I guarantee you that they all were. Now, the next news item that I wanted to talk about, on the topic of media failure, CNN botches major bombshell alleging contacts between Don Jr. and WikiLeaks. Again, we're on the Russia collusion narrative. It's been a year since we started this investigation, and we have nothing. There's no proof. There's no evidence. There's some circumstantial stuff, but that doesn't hold up. That doesn't hold water. And so the left is getting desperate to prove this collusion. And in their desperation, they've begun jumping the gun on reports. They've begun botching these releases. ABC pulled a big one. Was it last week? This week has gone by so fast, it feels like it was last week when that happened. I want to say that it was last Thursday that happened. And now, CNN reporting that an email was sent to Donald Trump Jr. Calling attention to, essentially trying to call attention to the Trump team to a WikiLeaks website, allegedly on September 4th, 2016. But when a copy of the email was provided to the Daily Caller, it shows that the email in question was sent on September 14th. Simple mistake. A 1 was misread somewhere. Somebody was looking at an email, they missed the 1 on September 14th, saw that it was September 4th, realized that the date WikiLeaks released the said batch of documents was September 13th, and realized 4 is less than 13, therefore Donald Jr. got this email before the documents were dropped on WikiLeaks. And so they rushed to produce this news, possibly without going through any steps to verify that the news was accurate, that the would-be report of an email going out on the 4th about documents that would be dropped on the 13th was true. We now know that that was fake news. And this is not going to be the last time this happens. They're so close. They think that they're so close to proving the narrative. With Flynn pleading guilty to lying to the FBI, he was the number one guy. He was the top dog. He was the fellow that everybody thought had the golden ticket to proving the Russia collusion narrative. So when he pleaded guilty, I'm sure that the left had a collective orgasm over the news that he pled guilty. And when that panned out into a nothing burger, because Flynn still has not admitted to any wrongdoing besides making a false statement to the FBI, and nothing that Flynn did, which has all been cataloged by this point, has been concluded to be wrong. Now that that's happened, they were so close when they learned that Flynn was pleading guilty to something and that he was cooperating with the Mueller investigation. They got so close, and when they learned it wasn't what they were after, I'm sure that the disappointment was crushing. And so now they're looking for that high again. The high of getting that close. They're looking for it again. And so CNN is trying to deliver. And of course it turns out to be fake. We're only going to see more stories like this. We're only going to see more instances of the media jumping the gun and botching these releases. It's only going to get more inflamed from here. That's going to do it for this video. It's time for the weekend, so go enjoy it. Thank you all once again for watching. Thank you for indulging me in these 3 video releases today. You've got a full 2 days of No Protege, so have a fantastic weekend. Before you go, leave a like hit subscribe, ring the bell for notifications so that you don't miss the video that goes live on Monday. Again, thank you for watching. Have a fantastic weekend. Good night, and God bless.